The project shown in this video can be found in the textbook Technical Drawing 101 with AutoCAD, available from SDC Publications. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the rectangular array command. The first thing I'm going to do is to draw a circle that I'll use in my rectangular array. So I'm going to select on the circle command, and it asks me to define a center point for my circle. I'm going to type in 2, 2 and press enter, and it locates a circle at the absolute coordinate 2, 2. Now for the radius of my circle, I'm going to type 0.5 and press enter. So what I've created is a 1-inch diameter circle that center is located at 2, 2. Next, I'm going to come to my modify toolbar, and I'm going to pick on the rectangular array icon. Now I could also come up here to where I see it in the modify panel, and I want to show you something else. If you pick on the down arrow right here, you have some other arrays. You have the polar array, the path array, but I want to just focus on the rectangular array. At this point, I'm prompted to select the objects. So I could pick the circle, or I can do a right to left click crossing window that just touches the circle. I could have picked it exactly on its edge, or I could have done a left to right crossing window. Any of those would have worked. At that point it says select object still, but I'm finished, so I'm just going to press enter. Alright, now you can see what my array will sort of look like. What an array is, a rectangular array, is it is a group of columns and rows. Now columns run vertically and rows run horizontally. And as soon as I get into the array command and I've selected my object, my ribbon changes and it becomes contextual, and what it focuses on is just the way that the array command works. So I want you to look right up here where it says columns. Now remember, columns are vertical and it says 4. So I'm going to change that. Let's put 6 in there just so you can see what happens when we put 6 in. And for our rows, so now we can see we've got 6 columns. And for the rows, let's change that to 4, just so we can see the difference. So we have 4 rows. These are the ones that run horizontally. It says between columns, and it wants to know what is the distance between columns. Now right now that's set to 1.5. Let's set it to 1 and see what happens. See, they touch each other when it's set to 1. Now let's go a little bit wider. Let's go 1.25 for that. And the distance between the rows is also set to 1.5. Let's go 1.25 for that also. Alright, now I also have a thing over here for levels, and levels is used whenever I'm creating an array along the z-axis as well as the x and y, so it's really a 3-dimensional array. So normally your levels is going to be set to 1 if you're drawing in 2D. Alright, now I've got my 6 columns, my 4 rows, I have my distance set, and everything looks good. The last thing I need to think about is whether or not I want these circles that I'm creating to be associative. Associative means that when it's on and I create them that way, what happens is when I close the array is they behave like a group. And if I edit them, I have to edit them as a group. So if I go over here now to rows, let's say I've moved that back to 3 and press enter, it edits the entire array. If when I made that array I had unchecked the associative, what it would have created is a group of individual circles that would not have behaved like a group. And so this is kind of an important distinction. Now because I used associative, I can even pick on the grips, these blue dots that you see, and by moving my mouse I can even continue to edit and come up here and pick, and it will continue to place the rows and columns at the same distance apart that I've already defined. At that point I'm going to close this array out. So there's my array. You'll notice when I pick on it, it acts like 1. Now it's a little bit difficult to edit this unless I can just, all I need to edit is the number of columns and rows. One possibility would be to explode. So here's my explode icon right here on the modify toolbar. If I explode that and press enter, I can turn these back into separate entities, just separate circles. But that's probably not ideal. I think the best thing to do and I'm going to go ahead and just delete a bunch of these out right now, is that when you start the array command and you pick the first object and you press enter, is to uncheck associative and then close the array so that they are not made as a group, but as they remain individual entities. Either way, is fine. It just depends on what you want the outcome of the array to be.